Hi guys, welcome. Scatlink here. We're off for just completely out of the blue update video, mainly because what was announced was out of the blue. I swear, Nintendo have been killing it recently, because you see this here, I think that gives it away already. They are releasing a Super Nintendo even, Classic Edition. They already released the NES Classic Edition, now they're releasing a Super Nintendo Classic Edition. Obviously this is my original Super Nintendo, it's not a Classic Edition at all, because for one thing it wouldn't be this big, you wouldn't have a cartridge slot, and you won't have the usual controls with the usual inputs. They're going to be another iteration on the Classic controllers that you could put into Wii remotes for Wii and Wii U, and also the original NES Classic Edition if you want to. So, and yeah, this is very yellow. It's the age is showing. I'm looking at the camera right now, the camera feed right now, to make sure it's on the screen. But what I'm going to do is just pop that over there, and the reason being is because I'm going to move over and have some images here. This is what our version is going to be looking like, pretty much exactly the same as what we have, which is going to be awesome. You see the colours? You see the colours of the buttons? That's kind of the main difference, as well as the form factor as well. Of course, our version is based off of our own version, or the Japanese version if you want to call it that, and obviously the American version have their very unique style box version. It's funny really, normally Japan, because when the NES came out, we and America got the big box version, and the Famicom got their usual orange and red top loader. But in this case, that's even though that I'm obviously talking about this because it's coming out on September 29th for £80. I got mine for 70 on Amazon because I had a £10 gift voucher to put towards it, so that's sweet. But what I've got here, I'm going to change it now to the list of games, and the first thing you would see is the first thing in the middle. Look at that. Starfox 2. For the first time ever, play the never before released. So I'm just checking my notes behind the monitor because I've got two monitors going on back to back. Yeah, because like Starfox 2 was never re-released. I was hoping that they were going to do it for the Wii U soon after Earthbound Beginnings, because that was also never released. That's kind of the reason why I'm making this video, mainly because of a game that was finished but never released by Nintendo. Same thing with Earthbound Beginnings / Earthbound Zero at the time. Starfox 2 was an almost finished, almost translated game that never saw the light of day because they moved on to the 64 with Starfox 64. Now, the thing is that we've also got an extra 20 games here. 21 games in total, not 30. But because it's Super Nintendo, and you get 2 controllers, not 1, you get a lot more for it. And of course, it's not going to be 60 quid, it's going to be 80 quid. But to be fair, Super Nintendo games are a lot bigger, and most of these have save features anyway. Because look at this list, and unlike the Super Nintendo, I'm going to be playing, or I have played most of these games before, in one way or another. I mean, reading them in order from the image that you can see here. Super Mario World, awesome, I already have it on my Wii Virtual Console. I already have a Japanese cartridge of it. I told you I had that Wavebird thing during, I believe it was during South Park Stick of Truth. If I still have an image, I'll pop it up screen and like down here quickly, or here or something, just to let you know, because that's how I play Japanese games on my PAL system, as well as American games, that's the thing as well. But yes, we've got Super Mario World, we've also got Super Mario Kart, Zelda A Link to the Past, F-Zero, I was about to say Formula Zero, I always have a habit of doing that, and we also have Super Metroid. I mean, we already have that for 3DS, as well as the Wii U Virtual Console, but you know, can't go wrong when it's in this package. It's kind of like a no-brainer at this point. Same with, like I said, with Super Mario World and Zelda A Link to the Past. You cannot go wrong with those whatsoever. We also have Street Fighter 2 Turbo Fighter, a version of Street Fighter 2. I'm not 100% bothered with that, but hey, if my mates come around, I'm like, you want to play Street Fighter? There we go. We also have Super Punch-Out! That's alright. I'm not exactly one for Punch-Out, but there we go. Super Castlevania 4, which is basically Castlevania 1 on steroids. It's a pretty much remake. So it's not actually the 4th entry, it's just a remake. The original Donkey Kong Country, the other 2 are omitted, which may annoy purists. But, you know, I don't know. We've also got Mega Man X1, considering that Mega Man 2 was on the NES Classic Edition, but not Mega Man 1. I actually like how Mega Man X is actually on this one, because to be fair, out of the 3 Super Nintendo ones, the first one was definitely the best. We also have Kirby Superstar, which is 8 games in one, so technically it's not 20 games plus Star Fox 2, it's more like 27 games because remember, Superstar 8 in 1, so you basically plus 7 on top of that. So it's basically, we've got 28 in 1 here, technically. Or 29 in this case. You know what I mean? But yeah, we've got Kirby Superstar, so we've got 8 games in 1 for that one, so there you go. That kind of technically bumps up the number. It's a thing. Now, this one, Final Fantasy 3, it is Final Fantasy 6. It's Final Fantasy 6. I did that on the PlayStation as a Let's Play, because it's my first, as well as my favourite Final Fantasy, bar none. And it's also probably one of the best 2D Final Fantasies, and as well as the last 2D Final Fantasy ever made. The thing is, people were a little bit annoyed saying, where is Final Fantasy 4? But to be fair, Final Fantasy 6 has a much more gripping story and also better graphics, so I feel like we're getting a better deal here. But that may be nostalgic for me, but, you know, Final Fantasy 6, not 3, that really triggers me. They only called it 3 because before Final Fantasy 7 came out, and then all the others came out later to fill in the gaps, and 2 was corrected to 4, and 3 was corrected to 6, and then we got the original 2 and 3, and then we also got 5, because that was skipped as well for whatever reason. I don't know why. I think that was Super Nintendo as well, so for some reason they skipped an entry. That always confuses me. But we got Final Fantasy 6, and that is probably the best title to have on here, in my opinion. Well, other than Starfox 2, but you know what I mean. We've also got Kirby's Dream Course, another Kirby game. I think it's a standalone game. I think Kirby's Dream Course is a Super Nintendo remake of Kirby's Dreamland, which was his first game, and that was on Game Boy, but I believe it carries over his copy ability. So it is like a definitive version of Kirby's Dreamland on Game Boy. So there you go. I mean, obviously you can play it with the Game Boy Player on a normal Super Nintendo, but hey, that's like a true 16-bit remake. We've also got the first Star Fox game, which is kind of redundant. I mean, not really. I mean, like Star Fox 64, Star Fox Zero, they're all the same story, just different game set pieces. Each 64 is a retelling of the original, which is here, and we've also got Zero, which is a retelling of 64, and then we have a remake of 64, which is 64 3D. So yeah, 64 is, or the original Star Fox is pretty much the most well-told game. So it may be a little bit redundant, but hey, you get to see the FX chip in its original former glory before Star Fox 2 blew it out the window. Then again, like I said with Star Fox 2, we got with the one on that's a ROM version is the unfinished, like almost finished version. This should be fully finished because it was almost at completion. It just needed a bit of tweaking and other stuff needed to be fully implemented, while it was only half functioning but still fully playable. So I don't know. Anyway, Star Fox is untouched. Star Fox 2 is what I was talking about there, even though Star Fox was in the list of what I was talking about. We also have Yoshi's Island, which is Super Mario World 2, Super Mario Bros. 5, whatever you want to call it, even though there's no bros in there. Yeah, so that's a thing. We got Yoshi's Island, and that's a game that I do have memories of, but I probably may not play just because it's a pain in the arse to 100% because levels can go on forever. But previously being in this country, only being released on the Wii Virtual Console, and I don't know if it's on Wii U Virtual Console, it probably is, I'm not too sure, because it wasn't re-released for the 3DS Virtual Console for new 3DS systems. But we got Super Mario RPG Legend of 7 Stars, where Geno, yes, Geno, you know, the costume from Smash Brothers and that teaser in Superstar Saga, he originated in that game, and it's made by Square Enix as well, so there we go. You got Final Fantasy 6 and Super Mario RPG. You got 2 Square Enix games right there that are kick-ass. And we got another one coming up in a moment. We got Contra 3. Okay, I don't know much about Contra. I've got Metal Slug 3 on my Switch. It plays similar. But then we have the other Square Enix game that I was talking about, Secret of Mana. I have never played it before. I have never owned it before. So that's something. We've also got Earthbound. Considering that we actually have it now, like on Virtual Console, you can technically have a physical copy here. So that's cool. Don't know what else to say about that, really. It's on Wii U Virtual Console. It's also on new 3DS Virtual Console. GBA, Super Nintendo for Americans and Japan only, but yeah, that's another version. This is another version of Earthbound you can get, so that's an extra 3 files if you already have it. And Super Ghouls and Ghosts, which is a 16-bit remake of the original on NES/arcades and every other console it was on. So yeah, those are the 21/28 games that are on this system. That's 28 games. I obviously 21 games is advertised, but Kirby Superstar is 1 plus an extra 7, so there you go. 21 goes to 28, so like I said, it's 28 games compared to 30, if you really want to count it like that. And I feel like you may want to, because that just feels a lot better, in my opinion. I mean, I'm just trying to check here, I'm just looking at it, because like I said, you get 2 controllers instead of 1, which you would have to pay an extra £20 for anyway, so that technically duplicates the price of what a NES Classic full package would be. But like I said, they only gave you one controller in that one. This one gives you 2, and of course they have more buttons. Basically, it's a classic controller, but without the analog sticks. Let's be fair. So, but it's just nice to have the actual feel. They just, you know, change the ends. It's just nice that they actually specified that it is, the system is compatible with classic controllers and controller pros, because that obviously means that these controllers, they don't show the ends, but they will use the nunchuck ends that go into Wii remotes, as well as the original NES Classic, which is funny because, you know, the Wii U's discontinued, Wii's are not a thing anymore. You can't really buy controllers for those consoles like in stores new anymore. It's kind of weird. It's like, it's kind of funny that they actually use that. You would think that they would just make them wireless Bluetooth, but they couldn't really make them compatible for the Switch, I guess, so they can't really make them Joy-Cons either, that with just limited functionality. So I guess the only way to do it that was cost effective was to use that previous technology. So I'm not really a bit miffed about that. I mean, if you still got Super Nintendo games on your Wii or your Wii U, you've got the original controller to play it on effectively without buying a third-party adapter. So there's that as well. I mean, it'll probably be better playing Earthbound with that now and then a classic controller, but there we go. I've already finished that Let's Play like early this year. Or yeah, early this year. So yeah, there's not really much else to say that. What I'm hyped for is Star Fox 2, because that's like the only Star Fox game we never played, similar in terms that at this current point in time, Mother 3/Earthbound 2 is the only Mother game that no one except for Japan have played, as well as maybe people that have translated it into English with the unofficial patch / ROM hack. But like I said, it's not official. We haven't had an official release anywhere outside of Japan for Mother 3, but we've got Earthbound now worldwide, including in this package, and we've got Earthbound Beginnings, which was previously a thing. I just noticed that they didn't actually release that for they didn't release Earthbound Beginnings on the Nintendo, the original NES Classic edition. That's kind of weird. But yeah, I know this was like super late. I'm going to have to chuck this up quickly, even though I've already put on a Final Fantasy video. It always happens at this point. Every time I think I'm done with news, and E3 is now done, they still have to like come out of left field. It's like before E3, during E3, during their presentation, and after their presentation, they're still announcing stuff. And now after E3 is done, this is announced. It's like Nintendo were just like freaking destroying it. They're probably the only people that did good in E3, other than, like I said, PlayStation with Undertale being on their consoles. But that's my personal thing. But like I said, I'm blabbering on that now. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but yeah, whenever we have any more news, I may or may not make another video of it. I haven't challenged any gyms on Pokemon Go yet, and we're still doing Final Fantasy. So with that, I'll see you guys whenever we do another video.